Okay, guys. I have no idea what the hell's going on with this shit. I have to get in touch with my computer tech again. Ay, ay, ay. Paul, how you doing? Having some problems again on that friggin' site. Spend all that money every month. How you doing, Robert? So how was basketball practice there, Paul, last night? Okay. Robert, thank you for the email. And we are going to, what's this? What's this? All right, well, it's over with now. We're going to work from the workbook and the stick control book. Now, Robert, I have to compliment you. You seem to be, you're very much into this. You take piano lessons, you play the piano, and you want to play drums. And you seem to understand everything that I'm throwing at you. So, and you email me constantly, which I totally appreciate. That helps me out so much. Okay? What you emailed me was a couple different pages from stick control book, which is good. So we're going to continue, and we're going to work also, Paul, tonight on the triplet fill-ins. Okay? And Paul, I worked on the clock too at a basketball game. It's fun, man. Those parents get crazy. But that's beside the point. Let's go. We're going to work from the stick control book first. I believe that was page 8 we were working on this afternoon. Now, we talked about doing line 1 and line 13, which the triplet sticking was different. We're accustomed to doing sticking as 1, 2, 3, 4. Now, the way he presents it on 13 is he adds a double. He changes the sticking on the triplet as the right would be 1, the left would be. So, Bob, this is good for you because you're not going to forget this now. Okay. Anyway, let's do the triplet. We do the triplet as alternating strokes. 1, 2, 3, 4, bop booty bop. 3, 4, bop. Or we do them as we'll change the sticking on the triplet as this. Now, Paul, watch my sticking. Okay, so notice that my right stick and my left stick attack the drum at the same spot. My sticking heights are the same. Now, here's the thing that you want to shoot for when you're changing a sticking pattern like that. All right? For example, if I were playing that and you were in the other room and you're not watching me play that, you should be hearing this. No difference in sticking. Do we understand that? Same thing with the left. You're doing the left, starting with the left. So now let's go to line 13 of page 8 in the stick control book. Okay, so here we go. We're doing eighth notes and we're doing triplets. Combination of. We're transitioning from the eighth notes to eighth note triplets. And it does make a difference, guys, the feel. single strokes. Okay, then let's go to 13 with that same about the same tempo. Now, when I'm doing that, could you hear the strokes sound the same? That when I'm changing the triplet, I'm going to do 13. $14. Now, it's not about speed. It's about making the right side and the left side equalized. Now, we did that like that. We did a couple lines. I prefer to hang out with line 5 because it's distributing the work, line 5 and line 17. It distributes the work on the right side and the left side. Okay? So now, let's do line 5. That's on the left side. So we have 1, paradrone. Okay. Now, I need to, you understand line 5, Paul? Each stroke sounding the same? Robert and whoever else is watching? There's 9 people watching, and there's only us in the chat. Okay. The camera view is not good. I mean, what do you mean it's not good? Sorry, Matt, but the camera view is not so good. Is there a problem with the view, guys? What do you mean it's not so good? Randy, how you doing? Is my camera view okay with everybody? Paul, is my camera view okay? Robert, is my camera view, is my camera view okay? What is the problem with the camera view? Dennis, how you doing? Ah, shit. God damn it. Oh. Hold on. I got the luck of the Irishman here, I'll tell you. Shit. Fuck. Yeah, I get it later. Oh. Well, I guess I could charge extra for that coffee. I mean, that book, it has coffee on it. Some of us are driving so hard to chat at that same time. The camera view is a little off center from normal, but we can't hear you. Well, that's how I set the camera up. Well, I can't get the whole thing, and I mean, I have to move it back. Well, I'm sorry, you know. It's fine. It's just a different view. I want you guys to see my hands. You can hear the bass drum. You can hear the hi-hat. I mean, I can put the other camera on as well. I like this view better. Anyway, book 2 is available in the mail Friday. Joe, Paul, Randy, Dennis, I already got your email from PayPal. I'm going to leave it like this. It's just an experimental thing. You can see the... Well, that's what the object of the lesson is tonight there, Dennis, to see the hands. I mean, I can move the camera back. I got 4 cameras here, and I'm just using this guy. Okay? And the reason why, Jesus, I want you to see my hands. That's all you need to do. You can hear the bass drum. You can hear the hi-hat. Well, I could put all the views on, but not at one time, only one at a time. You know, you have to understand something, guys, and I know you do. Oh, shit. Damn it. Oh, my God. I'm one person. I'm streaming, trying to give a lesson. Okay? And what happens, if I want to make a, if I had an AV person, I could sit him at the computer and he could do a, no, they're not. They're, as I play, they could change the views, like the overhead or the other side view. I am going to invest in an additional camera for just the feet. Well, I got to move the camera back, and I'm not going to do it now. Tonight's lesson is about the hands, all right? And I want you to see the drums, the top. The bass drum is going to always be, for these particular lessons that I'm doing right now, the bass drum is going to be... You guys are crazy. You guys, I'm having a bad day, man. You guys busting my chops or what? Oh, Lord. Make that 47.66. You have to understand, I don't have an AV person. I'm trying to concentrate on doing the lesson. Make sure everything is working correctly. And I can't make the switches. And I'm thinking about what I'm going to do next. That's multitasking. It's actually good for me for my coordination. All right, let's do this page. I want to hit a couple of these lines. I was saying line 5 with the triplets. Now it's written in 4/4. All right, line 5 on page 8 in the stick control book. This is the combination of eighth notes and triplets. So what I would recommend you do, because the next 2 pages is involved with a transition of straight ahead eighth notes and eighth note triplets. So let's say tomorrow comes your practicing time and you want to practice this particular 2 pages or just this 1 page, or try to do as many lines as you possibly can. So here's what I recommend you do. You get a timer, you get the timer going on, and now you want to put a metronome on. Now I want to do this slow. That's at 60. And we're not going to talk about, later we'll get into the differences of the cut time and so on and so forth. Now, that's my tempo. That's 1, 2, 3, 4. Now, I'm going to go to line 1, page 8, and play it to that tempo. No, I'm not. I'm going to do something different. I'm sorry. I want to play 1 measure of eighth notes, okay, and 1 measure of eighth note triplets, alternating the sticks. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, ga ba da, and 2 and 3, 4, da. Now I'll do that for 3, 4, 5 minutes, and I'm getting the feel of the transition from straight up and down eighth notes to the eighth note triplet, okay? And that gives me the good feeling. I'm going to do it for a minute or two. I'm not going to do it now a minute or two, but I usually do at that tempo like that. Then I'm going to up the tempo. I'm going to push the tempo a little bit. Let's go to 80. Let's go to 90. Here's the quarter note. Bing, 2, 3. Now, I have the metronome going on through a system. And to be right on the metronome should disappear. Understand that, gentlemen? You got it? Leave my ponytail out of this. It has nothing to do with you, Joe. Okay, so now, that's line 1. And I'll do those exercises. That's not line 1, it's the exercise. 1 measure of eighth notes, 1 measure of eighth note triplets. Okay? 1, 2, 1, 2. Here we go. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Ba ba do be be da ba 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 da. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. And I'll do that at a variety of tempos. That's a right hand lead for 3 or 4 minutes. Okay, because I'm getting the feel of that transition. Then I'll do line 2. I won't do line 2 rather yet. What I'm going to do is start with the left hand rather. I'm getting it mentally ahead of the whole thing here. I'm sorry. You're going to do a left hand lead with that same exercise. 1 measure of eighth notes and 1 measure of eighth note triplets. Okay, so let's do that for a little bit. Let's slow the tempo down. That's 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. And 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Then I'll take it to any place I want, tempo-wise. I'm just going to stay there. But I'll do that for a while. I'm feeling that transition. That's like going to Joe Morello's master studies and taking the table of time. That's like line 3 and line 4 over and over again. You could do line 3 and line 4 in singles. Then next line. Then in doubles. 2 triplets. 1 and the 2 and the 3 and the 4 and the 1, 2. You see what I just did? I made the transition. Instead of alternating triplets, I changed the triplets to doubles. And you could do the same thing with paradiddles, 3 different ways. That's the table of time. But I'm still making the transition. I'm playing the same figure and I'm feeling that transition. But I changed the sticking. And the sticking changes the feel for me, which makes me stronger with this. Got it? Okay, let's do where he changes the sticking of the eighth note triplet. Instead of alternating the stick, he's playing. Okay, or reversing it to the left hand. But look at the sticking heights. They're all the same. And the reason why I do it slow, when I get it slower rather, that gives me time to make, if there's any difference in sound, that gives me time to change that adjustment on either the right hand or the left hand to equalize the sound in both hands. All right, so now if I do line 1, this is crazy, 13. Okay, I have 1, 2, 3. 3. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Stop. Okay. Then I go to, say, line 14. Well, actually, what I want to do now is you did line 1 and you're doing line 13. An additional way to practice this would be play line 1, go over to 13, complete 13, go back to 1. So now you're giving yourself a little bit of a workload and a lot more concentration because you have one measure of triplets, or the one part with single stroke triplets, and the second part of line 13 with changing the sticking to right, right, left, right, right, left. So it's really, it might not sound like it's doing you a whole lot of good, but trust me, it is, because you're making that transition. Okay? So now let's try it that way. Let's do line 1 and then to 13. Over and over. Made a mistake. I'm thinking of the other page of vamps, so I'm going to show it to you next. Let me do that without saying anything or looking at the computer. Line 1 and line 13. 1, 2. So on and so forth. And you, now what? Ha! Now, do you understand what I'm doing with that? Because I like to go over to page 9. And you asked one of these questions the other night, Dennis. You play a vamp with one hand. Do you understand what a vamp is now? Now, does everybody understand what I'm doing so far? I like to go to page 9, line 1. DK, who's DK? Maddie, it's Mateo. Who's DK? Well, I try to hide. I don't want to disrupt and blow out the screen. I'm having enough problems. But it's about the hands tonight. You understand what a vamp is, right, Dennis? Okay, let's go over to that page. And that's page 9, line 1. Now you'll see, for example, line 1 of page 8 was a 2-measure increment. You go over to page 9, line 1 is a 4-measure increment. Okay? So now, I'm going to play, and what I'm doing at the end, the 4th measure, is I'm tagging on for a measure of straight triplets. So I'm going to do the line over and over again. And do it slow. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. And you want to do that with, you're a girl drummer, DK. What is your first name then? I don't know who you are. Are you on my mailing list, DK? All right, well, just if you want to put that in there. Now, let's just take a faster tempo. And I'm going from that 4 measure, the last measure back to the beginning. One, 2, back. One, 2, 3, 4, 1. Now I'll do that over and over and over again at a variety of tempos. Now, here comes something that we're going to do here. We're going to add a vamp to the end of the exercise or the line. Now I'm going to play the line as written. D. D who? Well, hello, D. How are you? Are you on my mailing list? All right. Paul, put my email in there. And DK, if you want to get on my mailing list, okay, and what happens then is every Monday I run out an agenda of the week's time and locations. Plus, if we need PDFs, I'll give them to you. Okay, so now I'm going to tag a vamp on the end of the line. So I just did 4 measures, and I'm going to tag on a 4-measure vamp. So what am I going to use for a vamp here? I'm working on the 8th note triplets, okay? I'm working 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. Now I'm going to use that as a 4-measure vamp, and I'm going to come back into line 1, okay? Now I don't, doing it slow, you get a little bit lost. So I'm going to kind of try to play it in a moderate tempo, okay? Okay, hold on. So I'm going to do line 1. Last time, bam. 3, 4, again to the beginning. Had this left-handed, God damn it. All right, here we go. Again. 1, 2, 3, bam. 1, 2, 3, 4. 4, 2, 3, 4, up. And I'll keep doing the line over and over and over again. I'll do that with line 1, line 2, line 3, line 4, and now line 5 is an 8-measure increment. So on and so forth. Do we understand that? I could continue onto another page, but I'm not going to do that. But do we understand it? It's the idea, the objective, okay, is to get those sticks sounding correct. You don't hear somebody, well, you do probably hear a lot of people do singles like this. That sounds terrible because the sticking heights are not correct. And you have one side of you sounding one way and the next side sounding another way. Put them together, it's like a disaster. Okay, so yeah. I can play them fast as soon as I get my left hand better. Okay, and it don't matter how fast I can play them, I just want to control them. That takes care of those pages. If there's any problems with that, what's this? Can you help with rushing and dragging with a metronome? You said something about a groove this afternoon. Is that what a groove is all about, other than the feel? All right, next week, and this is, thank you for posting that question. Next week, everybody here have the syncopation book? If not, I'm going to send some PDFs out. What we've been doing with, for example, the cymbal ostinato patterns, moving the bass drum around. The bass drum is actually going to give me that feel. We didn't use any dynamics, only the accent on the backbeat of 2 and 4. And the lines or the exercises are repetitive. That's to understand and get control of that bass drum. So now we're going to start approaching that bass drum instead of 1E and the 2E and the 3E and the 4E and which is not incorrect because you're learning the placement of where the bass drum is against the cymbal pattern. However, we're going to take a 2-measure increment from the syncopation book, or I'll make up my own. And for example, if I took 1 and 2 and 3, 4 and. All right, let's do something else. 1, 2 and 3 and 4. Bop, ba, boo, dop, bop, ba, boo, dop. It still remains 1 and 2 and 3 and 4, but now instead of me thinking that, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. I'm humming that. One, ba, boo, dap, boo, dap. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. 1 and 2 and 3, ba, dap, ba, boo, dap, ba, boo, dap. And we're going to think of that as a bass line. And we're going to play that particular figure against any one of those ostinato. We're going to have a 2-measure increment. I'm sorry. I didn't prepare that tonight, but we will Tuesday. We'll start that. Now, the next question is about the metronome. Before, right on the tick, or a little bit after the tick. Now, that's not really going to give you a groove. The metronome is a gauge for you to make a strong, laying it down tempo without moving and playing all these possibilities without going outside the click or the tick. That's giving you a solid sense of time. Now, there's other anyway, there's other. Joe's a good guy. He's a ball buster. Okay. There's first off, like I said, and I'll keep saying it, and I don't care who the teacher might be or who the player thinks he's God or whatever. So, oh, DK, right on. All right. Anyway, nobody, and I'm going to say this until I die, nobody can teach you to groove. Nobody except you in the music. The music is your best teacher to learn how to groove. Playing with other people is going to teach you to groove. I mean, if you start a song here and you end here, well, there's an issue there of keeping time. Your time's not happening. You have to understand, you're labeled, number one, you're not a musician by other musicians because you're a noisemaker. And yeah, they're dependent on you to keep time. But I refuse to play with anybody who I have to keep time for. I want to play my instrument the way a sax player, a piano player, a guitar player, or whatever play their instrument. They improvise or whatever. But if they don't improvise in time, okay, that's a problem. And they depend on you to keep everything closely knit. That's where your question comes in here. You're on it, just before it, I got to put the metronome, and just after it. Now, you could practice the metronome for the rest of your life. That's not a problem. And yeah, you will get better with time, okay? But I've designed a few different exercises to help you feel the distance between the quarter note differently inside of each quarter note inside of a measure. You say, how do I do that? All right, well, this is a good drum pad exercise first, but I'm going to do it on the drum set. Now, commonplace for beginner musicians is a whole note, 1, 2, 3, 4. Half note, 1, 2, 3, 4. Quarter notes, 1, 2, 3. Eighth notes, common. Triplets, 1, 2, 3. Sixteenths, 1 E and a 2 E and a 3 E and a 4 E and a. And that's from the table of time. It was documented as an exercise. And it goes on further from, instead of the grouping of 4, the grouping of 5, which is a very uncommon place to be. Lately, it's been very common because people, you know, they're going outside the norm. And the norm for years was what I just did. So let's take a grouping of 5. Now, how do we count a grouping of 5? We count the 4 groupings, 1 E and 2 E and 2. So I have 4 notes in between the tempo, the click, between the distance of quarter notes. Now, what I want to do is get 5. Whoa, mercy, Lord be. So how are we going to get 5? Well, there's only one way I could feel counting 5 is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So let me do, I don't know what tempo we at. All right, that's too fast. for me right now. I'm still having issues with the left hand. It's getting better. Hopefully it'll come back to norm. I don't know. Let me just drop a tempo here. That's at 60. I'm trying to get right on it. Now I'm going to do the groupings of 4, which is 16. 1 E and the 2, 3, 4. Then I'm going to nail the 5s. Now it was a little before the tick. Now, what I do is take a measure of 4, which is 1 E and a 2 E and a E and a 4 E and a. Then I'll take a measure of 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Now I'm making a transition from 4 notes. No, the drummer shouldn't lead the band. The music should lead the band, DK. Hold on. I'm making a transition from the 4s to the 5. All right, it's different. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to play 1 measure of groupings of 4 and 1 measure of groupings of 5. This will help you with tempo. You're going to find yourself flowing a little bit ahead, on it, or just before it. And now it's up to you to change it, to get on it, get in the pocket, man, lay it down. I mean, there's nothing wrong with playing just slightly before or slightly after. And there's reasons why you play a little bit before, because you want to push the band, or after, you want to slow them down. On it, everybody's in the pocket. Okay, so now, let's do that exercise. The first measure, a grouping of 4. The second measure, a grouping of 5. Over and over again. Do we understand that? That will help tighten up your tempo, one of the ways. Now, I use that particular grouping of 4 and grouping of 5 as a stick control formula. And you'll have that in the workbook, all written out for you. What I do is I make right become, say, 16ths, right. Okay, left, the grouping of 5. So now I'll do line 1, which would be 1, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1. You hear the difference, the transition? Okay? That's going to help you. That's written out. Now let me address this question here. A drummer should lead the band, right? That's the question, or the statement. Well, you are laying the tempo down because you're absolutely, you're being heard. 1, 2, 3, 4, boom, boom. The 2 and 4 is consistent, and they're playing off of that, which is fine. But that's commercialized. That's not playing out of the box, and that's not playing that as an art. All right, and that's only dance music or commercial music, which is fine. You have a part to play. It's in the pocket. You are establishing a pocket for the other musicians to play from. They go out of the pocket and you smack them in the back of the head because you're before the metronome, before the click, on the click, or after the click. Okay? Well, that's a good way to do it, university. I don't like that. I just 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. All right. But anyway, if I'm playing a tune, a jazz tune, no, we're not going to play him in a swung field. First off, of course, I'm sorry I neglected that. You don't play him in a swing field. First off, that's a good way, Randy. University has 5. I mean, I can make up all kinds of different things. I'd rather stick to the numbers, to be honest. It helps me. If that works for you, that's perfect. okay? Anyway, listen, we're talking about playing with the band. See, unfortunately, I mean, I'm trying to set up something here where I have a drumless track and I could play to it for you. You're a school teacher there, Paul. You can't count to five. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. When I get to a certain point, I don't really count to five. I feel it. And that's what you should establish. Now, you understand the difference between playing commercial, laying it down, playing in the box or whatever. You're a groove player. Everybody should be in a groove when they're playing music because it has to be established. Okay, I worked with a piano player, and I want to play my instrument the way he plays his piano. Yeah, there's certain things you want to calm down a little bit, but when you start improvising, they're allowed to improvise, and I got to just keep time. I said to him, I don't play time for no one. If that's what you want, go get a drum machine. He wanted dink, dink, dink. That's corny as shit. That's not allowing me to play my instrument as an artist. That's strapping me in. I'm not going to do that. I'm going to play the music or the improv the way I hear it and the way I feel it. But, that's one of the exercises. It's not that we don't, no. It's so, well, let's address that, D. All right. So I guess we should stop trying so hard to groove on the drums. What should we do? Well, you should groove. You're a student. If you've been playing 1 year or 50 years, you're still a student, so you groove whatever you play. First, you dissect what you're trying to learn, you work on it, and then you put it into tempo, and you can improvise off of it. Groove, man. One guy I really respect is this gentleman, Tommy Igoe. And he has that, Groove Essentials, which is good for beginners because it gives you different feels, like a samba feel, a rumba feel, a swung feel, fast, slow, whatever. And what you can do, it's not that we don't groove, because when we practice by ourselves without music and we use a metronome, that's our music. And that's giving me a gauge to if you can make, number one, if you can make a metronome swing and groove, you got it going on. Now, you said we should stop trying so hard to groove. No, you don't have to try so hard to groove, because when you listen to music, for example, you're not grooving, you're listening. Well, notice you're either playing your foot, tapping your foot to the tune, or your hand. Is that grooving or what? You're inside of what the statement of music. Okay? I'm playing quarter notes. 1, 2, 3, 4, constant. That's my groove. Okay, but I don't go on a gig and play just quarter notes. I play the music. The music is the groove. Do you understand that, D? Anyway, enough on the triplets. I tried to accomplish what I wanted to do, except the triplet fill-ins. I had a request to maybe go revisit it. Okay. Yes, it does. That's a good question. Here's 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay? But now, that was one time. Now I want to do it again. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So the first one I started with my right. The second one I started with my left. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. University. That's not good. What do you say? University. 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 No, I can't get that. I got to go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We're going to get to that again tomorrow afternoon. Okay, Dennis? Well, if you're a dancer, yeah, sure, sure would make you want to dance. But if you're in a groove, you're making a statement, you're having a conversation with the other musicians, and you're improvising what you feel and what you hear, and you're answering back and forth or having a conversation in a structured form. Okay? Let me get to the triplet fill-ins. I've been in here an hour already. Paul, you said you wanted to revisit it. We will. And, I come up with this as a triplet fill-in. I don't know whatever term you want to call it. I don't care what you want to call it. But that's how I call it, triplet fill-ins. Okay, let's start again from like this is the first time you're going to understand it, because some of the visitors here right now don't understand it or understand where I'm coming from with this next part of the stream. Two things you should know. First, to start approaching this, is straight up and down and swung. So let's talk about straight up and down. Let's go to page 5, line 1 of the stick control book. So if I have line 1 of the stick control book, it's written in eighth notes. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and... No, I'm going to do it now. Okay, I'm not going. I'm not leaving. I want to deal with this. I have some time tonight. I feel relaxed. I feel good. So straight up and down. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. No problem. Now, let's swing the line, or the term syncopation comes into view. The term syncopation means to change the feel. Straight up and down. No problem. Now, swung. I'm going to go inside of a triplet mode now. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and I'm going to play that same line. And I'm going to swing it. And I'm in a triplet mode. So what happens is the downbeat remains the same. All right, but now the ands become the da of the triplet, and I don't play the ands of the triplet. So if I did line 1, it would be 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and So let's do it again. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1. Instead of straight up and down swung. Now, do we understand the difference? Straight up and down and swung. For me to go to the next move on this particular lesson, you have to understand the difference. If I did line 3, straight up and down. That's page 5, line 3. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and bop. Okay? Now, I swing it. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Now, here's where I come in with the triplet fill-ins. Let's go back to line 1, and we're going to play line 1, the first measure swung. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and Okay, so that's establishing the swung part. Now, we're going to eliminate the lefts and just play the rights, but we're thinking of it swung. We're thinking of it like this: 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and But we're not going to play the lefts. They're going to still be there somewhere, but we're playing. We're just counting. We're eliminating the lefts and playing the rights. So I'm going to do it real soft so you can hear me talk and count. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and If that's not clear for you, I want to go to the next line before I start the triplet fills. So I'll go to the next line. And I'm going to say, okay, sticking patterns changed. So we have straight up and down. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. We swing the line. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and sorry, hit the rim. So I eliminate the lefts. That gives me all the rights on the da. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and and the, 4 and the. Do we understand that, gentlemen? The difference and the interpretation, how I'm referencing off of page 5, the stick control book. So let's go back to line 1 and just play all the rights, but I'm thinking triplets. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and okay? Now, I want to make a constant line of triplets, but my right hand is taken, so that leaves my left hand, and that leaves on line 1 and the of the triplet is not being played. It's there, but I didn't play it yet. I only interpreted 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and so let's fill it in with the triplets. Now I'm going to play the rights as accents and the lefts not as ghost notes but lighter. So I have now slow 1, 2 and 3 and 4 and 1, 2, 3, 4. I go to line 2, it reverses itself. Now instead of the right hand being on a 1, 2, 3, 4, the right hand becomes on all the does. Now I'm going to, it's 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and Now I'm going to fill in the blanks again with the left hand. Okay? 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and So we understand 1 and 2, the triplet fill-ins. Now let me play line 1 for you a little bit. I'm not going to play it super fast. It doesn't make any sense because it's being taught. I'm not showing off, I'm instructing. So we're going to do line 1 at a moderate tempo, and we're going to stay on one surface. However, when I play like something on here behind the drum set, usually who changed their name? What are you talking about? It don't matter. So I'm going to take line 1 up tempo. Like I said, I usually play standard bass drum 1, 2, 3, 4, my hi-hat 2 and 4. 1. Come on. 1, 2, 3, 4, and I'm playing this one. Line 2. Now I'm going to play line 1, 2 measures of the downbeat, and okay? Guys, let's not argue. Just pay attention. Don't worry about changing names and all that shit. Just kind of absorb what I'm doing. I'm going to play line 1 and line 2. 2 measures line 1, 2 measures line 2. Now, I'm doing that on one surface. Now, I don't know what your setup is, 900 tom-toms, 65 cymbals, and 4 bass drums, and 3 snares. Ha! Go for it. All I need is this. 2 floors, okay? Snare, 1 small, hi-hat, and bass drum. That's all I need. And you can make a lot of music out of this and a lot of rhythm. So now I'm going to take line 1 and I'm going to do line 1 and line 2, but this time I'm going to move it around a little bit on the drum set. I'm going to play all the rights either or here. So let's do line 1 simple. 1. You can have a whole lot of fun with that and be creative. Do you understand that, Paul? Got it, Robert? Anybody else, everybody else understands it? Two up, 2 down. That's good, the 2 up. I could put 3, 4 of them up here. I don't want to deal with that shit. I don't need it. I only can play one drum at a time. Maybe one day I will show off and put them all up and do a 10-minute solo. I don't know. As soon as my left hand gets better, okay? Now, let's do line 3. Now remember how we're getting where we are with the fill-in. Line 3 without just the right hand, understanding it's swung, eliminating the left, would be 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and fill in the triplet. 3 and 4 and 1 and you son of a 1 and 2 and So let me do that on a up tempo a little bit. I love the sound of these. No more showing it. That's enough. You got it? Understand? Now, you want me to go to the next level? Play it as jazz? Line 1, instead of using the right on the snare drum, we're going to use it on the bass drum. Who's this? Ken! How you doing, Ken? Hold on. Whoa, whoa, whoa. Who's this? What is this? Is there an argument brewing here? I'm not going to have that. The guy's going to calm down. I take this very serious. You guys want to play tough guy on the keyboard or whatever, don't play it here. Come on, damn it. Let me shut that off. I don't need it right now. Okay, now, Paul, you want me to continue with the jazz time? We'll make all the rights. 1, 2, 3 for the bass drum. Ken, what's wrong, Ken? Ken, tell me what is going on. I missed something here because I'm trying to concentrate on the lesson. DK, what are you doing? You being disruptive or what is going on? And I'm going to just do the bass drum and snare drum. What I did for line 1 on one surface was 1, 2, 3, 4. Now we're going to do a substitution. Instead of using the right hand, okay, we're going to use the bass drum. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Here's the hand, 3, bass drum, 1, 2, 3, 4. Now what I like to do with that is play it against the jazz time. Now look at the right hand. It's free stroke, down, a free stroke, down. Bang, to left foot, it's 2 and 4, heel and toe. 1, 2, now I'm going to play what I just did, bass drum and snare drum against that. Well, I've been having issues with my left hand because I have a numbness underneath, and I'm going for an MRI Friday. And it's getting better, but it's not as good as it should be. I feel it's like only 20% of what it normally is. All right, let's just back off of that, relax, and understand this. Line 1. Now we're going to do line 2. Line 2 is 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 7. And I'm going to take it downstairs with the right. 1, 2, 3, 4. Here we go. Line 1 and line 2. Now let's do line 3, one surface. Yeah, one surface. So now we're going to use the bass drum in the place to the right. Come on. 1, 2. Now we're going to do it bass drum, snare drum against the jazz time. We understand that, gentlemen, ladies? Well, you get in the chat, DK, and just, that's not a problem. You're welcome here anytime. Do not forget, please, to email me. All right, and I will put you on my mailing list, and I will send you the week's agenda, and you're welcome. And, the guys have issues with female drummers. I don't know. I don't have any issues with anybody except bullshitters and liars. All right, we're going to continue on this. Now, remember, tomorrow night, there's no lesson. Okay? That's why I gave you a little bit longer, an hour, 15 minutes, I guess. I don't know, tonight. I'm going to try, after this week, is to make the lessons no less than an hour. And like I said, and I've been getting this from Robert, and I really think he's doing a great job with this. He emails me and tells me what he's having issues with that he would like to straighten out, or what he would like to work on. That helps me. That helps me help you. Well, that's a good attitude, Mr. Robert, because we all want to learn and remain humble and keep it going. Email me, DK, okay? And also, nobody's better than anybody. We're all on the same journey. We all want to become better, and we want to share what we learn. Well, okay, male, female, don't matter to me. I have issues with male, female in certain situations. That's all right. They all sound off like me. I vent a lot. For example, at the high school, it didn't happen to my son, but just recently I watched it. The wrestling team. It's a boys' wrestling team. What the hell you want your daughter to wrestle on a boys' wrestling team for? I can't deal with shit like that. Thank you, Joe. No, there's no lesson tomorrow evening, so that's why I'm doing this now. But, like my little daughter, for example, Paul, she's she's a freshman, and she's playing varsity basketball. And she's the smallest on the team. That makes me feel good. But when they say girls basketball team, it's the girls basketball team. The only thing I can't deal with, man, if my daughter decided she wants to go on a wrestling team, I say forget about it. Unless there was a girls wrestling team. I am. Now don't forget the books, guys. I can put them in the mail Friday. I pick them up tomorrow in the afternoon or Friday morning. Okay? DK, thank you. Paul, Randy, Joe, Dennis, Hoist. With Paul. All right, thank you, Paul. All right, now remember the price on the books. Mail to you, it's $45. And to the people who live in Europe or out of the United States, I can send you PDFs. I can't send you the hardcover because it's so expensive to uh, mail it to you because of the charges. It would be ridiculous. Okay. Thank you. All right, Paul. Anyway, guys, listen. So if you want the book, the PDFs, it's $25. If you want the hardcover only in the U.S., it's $45. I put this on Facebook. Coming soon. Stick control formulas. Wow. Did I get hit on with that? But then when I said the price, she kind of calmed down somewhat. Thank you, Ken. Now remember, guys, you know how to get to the email. I mean, the PayPal. Put in my PayPal account, and if you do, please email me your address so I have a place to send it. Thank you, gentlemen. Have a good evening. Practice, and I will see everybody 1 p.m. tomorrow. Okay, afternoon on this channel. Have a good night. If the book is $45, it's about 180 pages, and there's 50. All right, 50 stick control formulas that we all can work on. It's about 10 years worth of work, lifetime worth of work. What is this? That's what it is, Paul. Yeah, $45 for the hardcover. It's less than for if there's all the formulas. If you say it's like 50 cents a formula, I mean that's like 4 or 5 pages of a formula. I don't think that's very expensive. I want to put it all into one book. I could have put it into 2 books and made more money, but I'm not making too much of anything on this except I'm getting more experience on a computer writing on my program. All right, so see what that's the right prices. $45 for the hardcover. The last one you paid $40 for, if you remember. I no what? Yeah, 40, or it was 35. This book, I'm telling you, man, you want it. And I'll tell you, if you're not happy with it, I will gladly refund your money. You send me the book back. It's as simple as that. Okay, guys, have a good evening. Thank you for attending.